Welcome back to Growing Indoors with Charlie Chocolate. I'm your host, Charlie Chocolate. We're going to be looking at signs of overwatering today. Now, these poppies, the Lawrence Grape, they turned out just fine. The Lawrence Grape is an incredibly resilient Papaver Somniferum. And if you're thinking about growing, I highly suggest it. You can get the seeds at most True Value stores. Here in Colorado, you know, they're at every True Value store and they're organic. I'm growing completely organic, so I wanted to get organic seeds, of course. We're going to talk about the Lawrence Grape cultivar because there's a very interesting history surrounding this plant, this cultivar, and a lot of people don't. Actually, I don't think really anybody knows about it, except for some people in the horticulturist, the community. So, I guess I'll dive right into my theory about the Lawrence Grape cultivar because it's actually quite interesting. But yeah, so we're looking at what we're going to be looking at while I'm talking is both the Lawrence Grape and the pink Izmir, which is an Afghan Papaver Somniferum. Both of these are alkaloid producing poppies. I'm not sure if the Lawrence Grape came from the pink Izmir or not, but I have a feeling it did. The reason I believe it did, and I'll try to patch a video over at this point, a minute and a half in, of the I have some really good video of a pink Izmir that turned out a really just killer purple. It just came out purple, and I think that one ended up getting donated to a local bar or a cocktail lounge, you would say. But anyways, so okay, Lawrence Grape. This is very, very interesting, you guys. If you have any sort of a mind for conspiracies whatsoever, you're gonna love this, and you'll probably agree with me. I don't think my stance on the whole thing is too far of a stretch. Okay, so, and again, we're looking at signs of overwatering. These have been clipped as soon as what you get when you overwater is like really dry, crunchy leaves. Sorry, and yeah. Okay, I believe there's actual government 3-letter agency involvement with Lawrence Grape cultivar. Let me explain. So, picture for a second that you're in the mid to late 1990s, okay? And you're going into the 2000s. So, socially and with the substance abuse scene, there is a opioid crisis already in effect. It's already happening. There's, a daily death toll, oxycodone and oxycontin, which is made from the bane, which is one of the alkaloids produced by the Papaver Somniferum, was just coming on the scene. So, I don't know if you all have seen the movie about the oxycodone and oxycontin people, but Purdue Pharmaceuticals. It's really worth watching. It's a good movie, Anyways, so all of this was just starting up. We were just starting to see the deaths from oxycontin. Okay. Now, all this being said, I need to preface this by saying something that's very important. A lot of this centers around one person, and the person's name is Lauren Springer Ogden. It's a hyphenated last name. Now, I want to be very clear in stating this. I do not have any bad thoughts or intentions regarding this person. And at times it's going to sound as though I am maybe making fun of her. I'm not. I'm making fun of the whole situation because I believe that she is what you would probably technically call a patsy, but I might be using the term wrong. I feel like the term is kind of used with negative connotations. So my point being, she may have been a patsy, maybe using the term incorrectly, meaning that she was used by a 3-letter agency as a cover for something. So I guess a patsy is somebody that ends up being guilty. So maybe she's not a patsy, more of a maybe not a shill. somebody can help me out. Help me out in the comments and tell me what I think that she's more of a victim than anything, if anything. Okay, but she has to know what was going on. Okay, so back to putting yourself in the scene. Okay, you're in Colorado. There's a national opioid crisis. Oxycontin and oxycodone were just coming on the scene, but in everybody's defense, I don't think the oxycodone thing was a headline yet. We're talking early 2000s here, okay, and that wasn't really headlines until late 2000s. So, but there was still an opioid crisis. You're still talking about actual heroin and then all the prescription pain medicine, which at the time it was mostly it would have been morphine, a lot of morphine and hydromorphine Dilaudid, right? Like the 2 4, and I think they go up to 8 milligram Dilaudid. So there was still a big problem going on, and in the middle of all this person, Lauren Springer Ogden, says to herself, allegedly, I'm going to bring about a new cultivar of poppy. Not just any poppy, the Papaver Somniferum, which is the alkaloid producing poppy. Why? For the color. They're doing it for the color. For the color. Anybody who says otherwise is a liar. For the color. So that's what allegedly happened. And she sets out and starts, growing Papaver Somniferum. And interestingly enough, if you look anywhere online, it's referred to as the bread seed poppy. That's what they call it, the bread seed poppy. And anytime anybody says anything about the alkaloids that may be produced, but it wasn't bred for that, you're thinking of, the Afghan type pop and all that stuff. It's like, this is a bread seed poppy. It's being produced for the seeds, because in America, as long as you're growing the Papaver Somniferum for the seeds, for culinary purposes, or for the aesthetics, the color, it's totally legal. But if you start doing a full spectrum extraction using grain alcohol like you would do for cannabis, illegal. Don't do that. You don't want to end up with a non-addictive form of this stuff. I mean, it is addictive, just to be clear, and it's poisonous. And you would be just absolutely insane to even think about doing something like a full spectrum extraction of this plant. Never do a full spectrum extraction of this plant. That would be a very bad idea. I digress. All right, so I'm not exactly sure where I was with my story. I actually just got a little distracted here. But okay, so, all right, here we are. We're back in Colorado. The year is the early 2000s. Take your pick. It could be 2000, 2003. And Lauren Springer Ogden decides that she is going to start cultivating to find the best bread seed poppy that you can get for the color purple, which is actually probably my favorite color, that or blue. But anyways, and she sets out and she does it. Now, let me just talk about Lauren Springer Ogden for a minute with respect to her. It doesn't look like she ever graduated from any university or college. Maybe she did, but it's not listed on her resume at all, if that makes sense. So I don't know that she ever graduated from university. And it looks like she is an accomplished horticulturist. So she's not a master gardener. Now keep in mind, I have some knowledge about this stuff. I worked at the University of Florida for 5 years, doing photography full-time for the Institute of Food and Agricultural Sciences. I was in their news and media relations department. Anyways, So yeah, I mean, the whole thing's pretty funny. So in the middle of all this, she decides to do that. And I guess it goes quite swimmingly because what she ended up with is the Lawrence grape. Now, if you look online and if you use your chatbot, your AI chatbot, and or Google AI, you will find that the Lawrence grape is not officially um, cataloged anywhere. And the reason for that is because the Papaver Somniferum has a number of different cultivars. It's just like cannabis to an extent, in that it has a ton of different cultivars, and within the cultivars, there's cultivars. So the only difference really is that the Papaver somniferum has not been categorized. It's just generally labeled as a Papaver somniferum. And then there's different types of Papaver somniferum. The two that I'm growing primarily are the pink Izmir, which is an Afghan, and then the Lawrence grape, which I think is from the pink Izmir. So, anyways, that's the deal. It's not like a real actual. There's no official panel of producers or whatever that um, comes along and says, okay, we have an official cultivar. It's not like there's a with cannabis there's Leafly, you know what I mean, and all this other stuff. So here we are, and now we have this cultivar. Interestingly enough,